Hi guys, and welcome back to another Inktober video. So this one is actually from a couple days back. This is from day 13, but it is the one that's right after, chronologically, the one that I showed you on Saturday. And I wanted to show those two together so you could see the progress of both of them. I really enjoy doing progression pieces, or ones that have the same characters and the same kind of environments, and trying to make sure that I can match certain things in both of them. It's a really good challenge, honestly, on continuing a style and continuing with the same elements within a piece. And that's really can be very tricky, learning how to control exactly how I'm executing a piece or how stylized I am with characters, and doing things that have to fit within the same world, which honestly this whole series has been falling under that kind of an umbrella, but even more so where it's the same characters, same environment, or same room, I should say. So this was a really good little challenge for me to be able to go from one piece that had very similar elements and then go to the next and to look for ways that I could preserve that quality. So with the last piece, really it was just the character, the teapot, the teacup, and the pillows that she was sitting on, and the steam. And those are some elements that I wanted to make sure that while they were different in this piece, they still were executed in the same way. So I do have a teacup and the steam coming off of it, but it's a slightly different shape. I did have to make sure that I studied once again that piece before it to make sure that I got that same shape language for the steam, which is actually kind of a new approach to that kind of a shape, or that kind of an object or element in a piece, I should say. And I really loved it. I loved that it was a little bit more different from what my normal approach would be for steam. So I feel like I was evolving a little bit with that, and actually end up using that same technique within, I think it's two pieces from the one that I'm working on right now, where it's actually coming out of her house. It's really fun. I love looking for design elements that can be used elsewhere so it all ties into each other. But I tried to make sure that I was mimicking that same attack plan for the steam. And I actually had the last piece up, not only for the design phase or the inking, but also for this part where I was getting the values down. I wanted to make sure that I could try at least to get the values as matched as possible to the elements that were already shown. There were a few elements that ended up a little bit darker than the original example of them, like her shirt was just a couple, or really just a shade darker. But I think I'm still getting used to, I think, the values of these ink washes. I think I'm never quite 100% on exactly how they'll turn out. So I do say this a lot, actually, about ink washes, is that they tend to dry a lot lighter than they look like they will when you first apply them wet. But it really depends on how heavy you go in with your ink wash. And I find that when I'm doing a little value swatch, oftentimes I'm a little bit more light with the coverage, and then when it comes to the final, I tend to get a little bit more water and therefore pigment on the final, so it tends to be a little bit darker rather than my little value swatch. I keep trying to call them color comps, but it's just values. So I think I need to get a little bit better at applying them in the same way. That way I can get a little bit more perfect of a color value, or a value match. There we go. And again, I absolutely loved working on this piece because of all of the little elements that I could design and have fun drawing and ink washing. I know I talked about that in the last video, but I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed carrying that over into this piece. I honestly even got more enjoyment out of this one because there's even more of these little elements. I included the little stuffed snake from last year. I actually really loved putting that little, it's not so much an Easter egg, but it's a little reminder for myself about last Inktober and the origins of the little stuffed snake and things like that. I love being able to take things from either my real life things that I love and cherish and have, or things that I wish I had. And that little snake is a little memento of my childhood. So I really did enjoy designing the little pictures that would hang on the wall and the shape of the picture frames and how the candles would drip and everything like that that went into this piece. It was just a really pleasant experience for me overall to be able to just sit down and work on that, and also to be able to revisit these two characters again and put them in this environment. And that is it for today. The original painting is actually available at my shop. Like always, there's a link right down in the description that'll take you over there. I also upload Wednesdays and Saturdays during Inktober, and I have 2 extra Patreon exclusive videos over on my Patreon every week. And I'll have a link right down in the description that'll take you over to my Patreon. But that is about it for today. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be back on Saturday with some more Inktober.